Hello everyone and welcome to another video review by Centipede Geek. Today I will be reviewing a film on the horror streaming app known as Shudder. It's a film by the name of Beyond the Door 3. It's directed by a guy by the name of Jeff Whitney, excuse me if I pronounced that wrong. It's written by Sheila Goldberg and stars actors and actresses such as Mary Conner, Bo Stevenson, and Victoria Zinni. As I said, it's Beyond the Door 3, so it's the sequel to the Beyond the Door 2 and then the first Beyond the Door, though it shares almost nothing in common with the first two, and the second one doesn't share really anything in common with the first one. I made a video a while back noting some sort of weird connections between the first and second film. I don't think the third film shares any of those so-called connections. I believe the third film was only titled that just to kind of market and campaign itself off the success of the first and second Beyond the Door. Even though those films were panned critically, and a lot of people don't really like those films, it seems. A lot of people compare the first Beyond the Door to The Exorcist. I can see why people would compare that, but in my opinion, I think it sets itself apart, and I think it's a lot different. The Beyond the Door 2, or another name known as Shock, it's kind of named both. Shock in 1977 shares almost nothing in common with first Beyond the Door and is directed by a great director by the name of Mario Bava. And as I said earlier, I created the video that I will put in a link in the description below in my bio so you guys can see that, so you can see kind of my thoughts on that. But what did I think about the third Beyond the Door? This one actually, to be honest, might be my favorite in the franchise, if you want to call it a franchise. One of the most interesting things about this film is that most of the film takes place in Yugoslavia. Not only that, but most of the film takes place on a train that will not stop moving. And there's some young adults that go to Yugoslavia for a trip or something like that. And they get on this train after one of their, and I don't want to spoil too much, but mild spoilers ahead. They get on this train after their friend Richard dies in a fire to run away from these people. And now this train won't stop moving, and you got this company in Yugoslavia trying to stop the train, and they're, putting bombs underneath. And I don't want to say too much more because I felt like I've already said enough. But this film is just really cool compared to the first two. There's some really neat gore effects. So if you're kind of a bloodhound like myself and you like watching movies just sort of for the blood alone, this is definitely one to watch. You're going to see lots of, a couple of heads fly around. You're going to see some bodies squished in between a couple trains. So there's some really neat scenes. Once again, spoilers ahead. I like the concept of this one, the whole concept of sort of her becoming the Prince of Darkness and the pagan ritual and the birthmark on her stomach. And there's just some really neat things that I thought that Beyond the Door 3 did to kind of set itself apart from the first two. And it's really, once again, hard to compare it to the other two because it's just so much different. As I said earlier, I watched it on Shudder. They have a really neat screenshot that kind of shows her arms held up like this. That's just really cool, kind of a retro, early 90s poster or screenshot that they use to market or display the film. But I really would recommend this one. The Shudder app gives it a solid 4 out of 5 skulls, so it's been received pretty well on there, at least among horror fans on Shudder. Definitely would recommend this one. I would even recommend the first two. If I had to pick one out of the first two that I liked, I probably like Shock or Beyond the Door 2 more than the first one, but if I had to pick a favorite, it might just be this third one because it really has a nice sort of fast-paced. It's not a slow burn. Shock is more of a slow burn. The first one's a little bit more of a slow burn. I wouldn't say that this Beyond the Door 3 is a slow burn. And it has a very bizarre ending. The third one does. Just a really bizarre ending. Now, Beyond the Door 2 or Shock has more of a twist at the end that I don't want to spoil. But Beyond the Door 3 definitely has maybe the most bizarre ending out of the three. But once again, thanks for watching another video review by Centipede Geek for my film review of Beyond the Door 3.